So I think we need to have a chat um, after the Austrian Grand Prix, where, well, obviously Max Verstappen and Lando Norris had collided together. I just wanted to share my opinion about it because there's a little bit of mixture in opinions around the internet and social media, and a lot of it, and I think it's a bit bad news, are signing up on Norris his side. Well, yes, I can agree that the final incident that caused the puncture on both cars was Max's fault. He shouldn't have moved a little bit to the left. But again, he was looking at the apex, and probably Max's argument, I got hit from behind, because he's focusing on, of course, getting his car into the turn, and all of a sudden he gets Norris around the outside, and I think some people would agree with that. But however, yes, I think Max is responsible for that last incident. However, that moving under braking part, yes, you're not allowed to do that, but the FIA aren't punishing it, and I think you have to look at that too. The FIA isn't punishing moving under braking because Esteban Ocon did it too, and he didn't get punished, didn't even get a black and white flag for it, and so did Max. So yes, Max is a driver that just does wants to do everything to win, just like Senna or Schumacher. And if that is at the boundaries of the rules or sometimes over it, he knew he wasn't getting a black and white flag. So why would he not try it again to move under the brakes to cover Norris? So that's my opinion a little bit about it. I mean, I get why Max did it somewhere. And, well, I just wanted to take you on a bit of some laps around Austria. Just driving a bit. Well, another part, of course, is, yeah, Norris, his driving. In my opinion, it was just reckless. It looked like a rookie. It was not. It was not like you would expect from him and his racecraft. Because at this turn, every time going for a dive bomb like that, every time he just went for it. And sometimes not even making the corner. And in my opinion, if you may go for a dive bomb, okay. But if you don't make the corner, well, he did that, of course. Give the position back, or keep the position but receive a penalty, because that's just illegal overtaking. You're forcing someone else off the track, taking a wider line, and you're not even making the corner yourself. That was the first time I thought, okay, Norris, you are really fortunate to even get close to Max and attack him, because of course the bad pit stop, and not only the 6.5 seconds it took, but also the pit stop was done and Max had to wait for you to get past, else he would have got a penalty for an unsafe release. Which, well, would have been fair if he just crossed inside the path of Norris. However, yeah, it's just that driving style from Norris. I mean, I like aggressive racing, but it just... He knew it wasn't working in the sprint race. It wasn't working for him in the sprint race. And now he tried it again in the race. Okay, fair point. Maybe catch Max out, but you can't just go for it again lap after lap and expect a different result, because Max just knows how to counter it. You can't dive bomb this guy. Not only because he's very talented, but he knows this track. And even I saw it once and I thought, okay, Lando, you're not even going to switch back him, because Max just blocked off turn 3, the apex, and Lando still couldn't get past. Well, just, yeah, it's odd because I like the way they raced each other hard, but the opinions on social media are just saying, yeah, Max is the aggressor, the bad guy, the dirty driver, while I think Norris is seriously also to blame for reckless driving. It literally reminded me of the torpedo then on Kvyat. Kvyat, how you pronounce it. But it was a bit like, also to me, Max meeting his younger self. You know, that pre-2018 China Max that was just either sending it, and if you don't get out of the way of Max, then you're gonna crash and we either both lose or I win. That mentality. I mean, somewhere I like it, but it was, yeah, the moving on the braking. I mean, it is wrong. Yes. Do I get why Max did it? I do, because yeah, why wouldn't you do something if it's clearly allowed? He's not getting punished for it. So yeah, if you can win with that, then try it. But what I don't get, I mean, these kind of dive bombs Lando pulled off, it wins you races sometimes, but it will never win you championships, if you know what I mean. Because no matter what the outcome would have been, Lando would be the loser. The only best outcome was if he was patient enough to wait for maybe this DRS zone, duck into the slipstream, and then either go around the outside here or brake a bit earlier, let Max go wide and switch back like this and go like Piastri did beautifully a couple of times around the outside. Take the wide line, carry more speed and take the lead. Would Max probably counterattack it? Yes, because he was still very quick, even with 7 gears, by the way, because he of course had that issue. Of course he would have, but then we would have had a little bit of a patient yet still aggressive battle. But yeah, going for dives like these, I mean, I get why Max was frustrated with that, because I think it could have been handled as a racing incident. But Lando, obviously, in my opinion, still the big loser, because not only did you risk, well, a DNF, which what he got, but Max came the winner out of it, because he still gained 10 points over Lando in the championship. He got 5th, so it would have been either Max winning and Lando losing 7 points to him, if everything also went right with Red Bull, of course. So it would have either been that, or he would have lost the 10 points like he did, or both cars would have DNF'd, meaning that Norris had one less race to catch up to Max for the championship. If McLaren, of course, keep developing, because I don't know what Max was on this weekend, but yikes, he was quick in qualifying. Unbelievable, 4/10 at this track. I mean, I genuinely believe it would have been a 7/10 to 1 second gap at Belgium if they raced that track. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird to say. I just wanted to put this video out, hoping it will reach some people. Maybe not a lot, but open your eyes. And Lando's driving was not on. I mean, and the problem with also this is that a lot of people blaming Max, even some big media like Sky Sports. Now Max will just get booed at Silverstone, and Formula 1 will have to put out a statement like, hey fans, let's not harass each other. Because I can get that maybe there are some Max fans, you know, or Red Bull fans at Silverstone, and maybe they will get harassed. Like a Mercedes fan got at this very Austrian GP previous year, where a cap got burned from a fan. The Mercedes cap got burned, I believe. That's also not on, you know. And of course, the friendship Max and Lando had, will it be over? I don't think so. I think they'll talk it out somewhat. But also the reaction from both drivers also says a lot after the race. And I think Max was very mature. I mean, he basically said, you know, I can't say a lot of it about it now. I have to look back at it. He's not admitting he is wrong, or he's not blaming Norris for anything in particular. and he's just saying, okay, let's just let things cool down, and maybe we'll have a chat later. That's basically what he said in the interview. But Lando said I wouldn't do anything differently, and well, that set me off a little bit, because people will agree with that and think it's racing. With the one dive bomb I particularly think of in this battle they had was at turn 3, where Lando didn't even make the corner, and if he doesn't think, well, maybe he thinks but isn't admitting it because of media reasons, and you're a driver, but going for a dive like this and not even making the corner on someone, that's just a bad image. I mean, yeah. That's just either an illegal overtake or dangerous driving. And that should be punished too. And I think that is why Lando got the penalty, but they gave it a track limit penalty. That's just the theory I'm saying. I have no sources or anything, but I think they gave Lando the 5 seconds for track limits because he went off the track, of course. Because if they would have given a 10-second for dangerous driving, the race would have been over and probably ruined. I think the FIA handled a bit out, oh, we also don't want to ruin this fight with a penalty, or if we're even gonna give a penalty because he ran right, okay, let's do a 5 second to give Lando some hope of driving away. Because Max did have issues, but would have Lando driven away 5 seconds? No way, because triple DRS, that Red Bull being quick with triple DRS, I don't think, but that's just speculating and all just what ifs. Looking at what happened, Lando has a lesson to learn, because he tried dive bombing so many times, I believe 3 to 4 or something, and I have this quote that I like, and it's perfectly for this situation. Lando trying to dive bomb is basically, insanity is trying something over and over again but expecting a different result. That's how I would put it with Lando. He was just impatient. It looked like a rookie to me. Is, of course, I am not a professional F1 driver, and yes, I'm not in the cockpit, but the people that use those arguments, you're also not one of the drivers, because I would have known you. Just before you start typing, but yeah, he's better than you and stuff. Yes, of course, I've never driven an F1 car, except virtually. But I mean, come on. Come up with something better. I mean, if you're just online to say, yeah, you're not an F1 driver, so you can't have an opinion. I mean, really, if something never happened to you, if you never did something, you're still allowed to have an opinion. I mean, can you? It's still the same. Like, okay, maybe I should not say put that example, but like, well, maybe some of you have never driven in a cycle race, just on bicycles, you know. But you can still have an opinion on it, or maybe a better one. Football, soccer, me that one. If an American sees this, I mean, I just call it football because you play it with your foot and not holding a ball with your hands and trying to make a touchdown at the end of the field. However, I'm ranting on too much. Where was I? Yeah. Anyways, doesn't really matter. But saying like, oh, you don't do this, so you can't have an opinion about it. I mean, then why are you even typing this comment? I mean, you're not making the video, so why should you have an opinion on my video? It's just the same as that. So it's just my opinion. I wanted to share it, and I genuinely think, yes, Lando, learn, because it will win you 1 or 2 races doing aggressive actions like this, but it will never win you a championship. And yeah, the biggest loser in my opinion was Norris then, in this race, and Max a big winner. Why? Because he extended his lead in the championship by 10 points, and Russell won the race, and even with that win isn't even in the top 5 of the driver standings. The top 5 stayed exactly the same, and Max got good out of it. Because Charles Leclerc also didn't score points. And Carlos, I believe, Piastri was the only one, finishing second, being good in that top 5. But Carlos was, well, I believe he was 4th. With Max, no. Where was Carlos? I don't know where Carlos finished. Maybe I have to search it up. But in any case, Max is a big winner here. And Lando a big loser, and I hope he learns that he will, just like Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, learn to be patient with Max and not try audacious moves. You can try it once, but if it doesn't work, don't try it again. Because it won't work, because Max will just know how to block it instantly. You can't fool someone twice. And I think that counts for not only Max, but a lot of drivers on the grid. You can just go for dives at every corner, but I mean, the second or third time they'll know what you're gonna do if they successfully defend it. And also with the last accident where Max kind of swerved into Lando, I also think, what was Lando trying to do there? Because he dived around the outside, so he probably braked way too late for a switchback. And then you're gonna get alongside Max on the outside. Well, if you're gonna get, then you're just gonna get a freeway ticket to the off track. Because, you're behind, you're on the outside. Why would you try? You're just going to get forced off if you try around the outside, especially off a hairpin. How much more speed and mechanical grip you would need to go around the outside like that. Just insane. I would just impatient a bit. Also one thing, Lando also, so far this season he only had to chase Max, really. He was never being chased by Max in a quicker car. He has the quickest car, he knows it. But just like in Spain also, I think McLaren made a big mistake there with the strategy by letting everyone undercut them behind them. Because if they would just maybe kept 1 or 2 positions, Lando would have been at least inside of the DRS of Max in the last 2 laps and might have still won that race. Like, I can imagine, I'm not a Formula 1 engineer, but I can imagine that if I have the quickest car, and I know it, and I know my rivals are struggling with tire wear too, I would want them to be on the exact same strategy as me. Why? Because I know then it will just get down to car speed, and I know my driver and car will be quicker. I mean, that is just your fight to win. You should be winning that, and McLaren didn't that race, and it was Max that just drove away 10 seconds, and it was just, the 10 seconds was enough. Lando couldn't get close enough. I think that was a mistake by McLaren strategists. You have better tire wear anyway, so why stay out longer if your tires are not going to fall off that much? You're going to be quicker, and you're just going to be quicker earlier and lose less time behind cars. But that was my opinion on Spain. It's not my point that I wanted to make further, but however, I mean, it was harsh racing from both sides, and I hope their friendship doesn't end because of this. I don't think it will necessarily, but it's just weird. And please, if you were considering, like, is Max really in the wrong here? Yes, he was responsible in my opinion for one incident. 10 seconds for this, is it harsh? Well, yes, but that's just rules. Just if you cause an incident, then you get 10 seconds, not the 5 like it were. But it's also like, yeah, Max meeting his younger self here, and yeah, it's hard to judge. But I do think Lando needs to learn from this, because yeah, we'll see what happens in Silverstone, but I'm not looking forward to it, because a lot of fans probably will boo at Max there, because yeah, British bias. Team LH, I don't know. I've seen some Team LH fans cringing at Norris fans. So we'll see, but yeah, it's just a bad situation. And I definitely think the FIA can also be blamed for not handing out the penalty directly to Norris, informing Red Bull that, hey Max, you can maybe calm a bit down. Would Max have listened to it? Probably not, knowing him. He would have probably said, yeah dude, I'm winning this on track, and still probably send it back if Norris got ahead. But yeah, also the last thing I'm gonna talk about is Norris's moves didn't also only look impatient, they looked incredibly ungrateful, if you know what I mean, or if you know what I'm gonna talk about. You're 8 seconds behind. At worst, you were 8 seconds behind Max in the race, and you get an opportunity in a slow pit stop, 2 slow pit stops from Red Bull, 1 3 seconds, and well, the last of course that brought Lando back into contention. You had that bad pit stop, 6.5 seconds, and he needed to wait for Norris to get back in. But yeah, another fortunate chance for Lando, and I think he's getting a bit arrogant off of the chances he got, because in Spain he had the best car. Should he have won there? Yes, but okay, that was outside of his control. But this one was in his control, and he ruined it himself. You could have won by just being patient. You had fresher tires. Red Bull screwed up the pit stop. I mean, also for McLaren, just calm him down. Say, you know, you can win this, but be smart about it. Don't just take risks like this, because you're going home with 0 points. You just went home with 0 points, being Lando Norris. Yeah, it's incredibly weird. I have my opinion about it. I think Max, I'm a Max fan. I'm siding with him. This opinion I have, yes of course. Say everything you want about it, that oh you're just looking at it because of it. If I look at it critically, should Max have moved to the left? No, but do I get it? Yes. Moving under braking, is it wrong? Yes, but can you blame him? Because he wasn't getting punished. And Max is a driver, okay, if I don't get punished for it, then why shouldn't I do it? The same as those track limits. You could do, if they weren't there, you could just do this. Didn't plan out as I wanted to, but you get what I mean. You can just extend the track however you want to. And yeah, drivers would just do that. So yeah, I can't blame Max for doing it. And I also think a little bit that after the first dive, Max started moving under braking, just like this, just to warn Norris a little bit, because hey dude, if you keep trying this, we're gonna both end up besides the track or with damaged cars, risking the win. I mean, Max could take the risk. He had a 70 point gap, now 80 points. I mean, why wouldn't you risk it? Go for everything for that win. And Lando, in my opinion, just took way too many risks. Either wait for the long game, you have a quicker car, okay, wait for it to come back to you with momentum. Because now you have just thrown this race away, given it to your rival at Mercedes, although Mercedes do still have some catching up to do, but It's just a bad image for McLaren and Lando Norris, in my opinion. And I don't think Max deserves the hate he gets, because he's just one of those aggressive drivers. Just like Senna, risking everything to win. And I think Max just did that here. Like, yeah, sure, try to overtake me, but it's either we both crash and you have one less race to catch up, or you give up and you basically lose just 7 points instead of 10. Because now it's an 80-point gap. Max can lose or DNF at the next 3 races. And even, I think it's a sprint in Silverstone, even with one sprint race, he can DNF there. And he would still be leading the championship by a couple of points. Let's say without sprints, the gap is 80 points. It would take Lando, I think 12 races to close the gap to Max. If Lando wins every race and Max gets second, both without fastest lap. And with, I think it's 13 races to go this season. And we're both still going to have their bad luck. Maybe Max will have one more DNF and Lando 2, or maybe a bad finish. I mean, it's possible, it's Formula 1, anything can happen. But yeah, looking at this for the championship, it's just not a good look for Lando. Max probably, he will just keep on driving, and if Red Bull are quick in Silverstone again, they will have had a debrief, you know, they will know where it went wrong in the pit stops. And yeah, this was just a one-time mistake from Red Bull. They won't make this mistake again, I think, or maybe in the next couple of races, at least not. So if Red Bull have a quick car again, and I especially think in tracks like Silverstone the Red Bull won't be slow, let alone tracks like Belgium and Zandvoort. Red Bull will probably be very quick. And if they are, well, if they are just a little bit, if they are the second fastest car, you can just count on Max to put it on pole. And the only thing he has to do is to defend. And, well, let alone Checo being out of the mix. Max is still carrying this Constructors' Championship almost on his own now. Because Max is just winning races. Checo is far behind, because that's also another story, but I think I will cover that in another video. Because Checo, yeah, he's just bad at this point. Yeah, it's just... I think, well, let's say McLaren gets a huge amount of momentum. But, you know, sometimes bad result here, Max will still win a couple of races. Or maybe with even huge momentum, where McLaren will really catch up, and maybe Norris loses this championship by a couple of points. Austria, in my opinion, will be the track, the race, the Grand Prix where he lost it. That's where he would lose it, if he loses it by a couple of points. Because if he would have settled for second, he would have just lost 7. Or he would have won it if he was just patient enough. Because Charles has proven you can do it. Lewis has proven you can beat Max in a straight fight in a couple of races. It's possible, but you can't just go for sense. Because it will just not work. Max will either know how to counter it, or you're going to meet him at the next corner. Because he's going to dive you back. That's what we saw in the sprint. So yeah, it's weird. Anyways, I think I'm going to wrap it up now. Driven enough laps for now, 25 of them. Jeez, I've been talking so much I didn't even notice I've driven so many laps. But yeah, it's just really really unfortunate for McLaren and Lando Norris, I think. But Red Bull still got the double points. I mean, it's good for their constructors. Yeah, Piastri got 18 of them. Max got 10 and Checo got 16. Okay, McLaren still scored the most points, also if we count the sprint race. But it's not a lot of points. I mean, gap is still 60 or something in the constructors to second place. And yeah, Red Bull can have another double DNF, and no matter what the end result is, or 1-2 or 1-3, doesn't matter. Red Bull will still need the championship after a double DNF. That's still a quite big gap, and it's all because of Max. Yeah, he's him, I can say. That's just my Max fan voice talking, but the guy is such a great driver, and I don't think he deserves the hate he's getting online. Is he aggressive? Yes, but I mean, would you blame him? Especially if you're not getting punished for moving under braking. Because he did it again, and don't get me wrong, I actually do think that if it's not allowed, yeah, punish it then. Do I blame Max for still doing it? Because it's illegal? Well, I don't think he should do it, but if you're not getting punished, yeah, then who's gonna hold him back? I mean, just do it then, at that point. If it's not getting looked at. Because I genuinely think if Max would have gotten a 5-second penalty for it, then Red Bull would have just protested it and say, hey, but Ocon did this, and why didn't he get a penalty? Or why did Max first get a black and white flag for it? Because then I genuinely think it would have been a good fight. Because the FIA, they know they can throw out the black and white flag as a warning. So if they would have just done that in that lap and just say, hey Max, this is Red Bull to Max, hey Max, calm down a bit, no moving under braking, because yeah, well, knowing Max, he probably still would have tried it, but yeah. Max claimed he didn't, while I just think, yes, he said in the interview, yeah, in the Dutch interview, he said, yeah, you of course don't know when I'm braking, but when he turned, he was changing down gears, I believe. He was changing down gears, and around the 50-meter board, or a little bit before that, he already started turning, like here, he started turning. And yeah, I mean, you can probably put Kratos in that car and you still wouldn't have been able to stop it in time, especially not when turning. The amount of force you probably would need with that. That's why I mentioned Kratos. However, I'm yapping again. Anyways, I'm gonna call it a goodbye for now. Please, if you're going to the Silverstone Grand Prix and you're British and I don't know, you don't like Max, okay, but just don't start booing at him. Because no driver deserves it, no one wants it. And then the media will once again put out a statement like, hey, don't boo drivers. If they even will, because I remember Dutch fans getting harassed at the Italian GP in 2023. And there was no statement put out of it. Yeah, there was no statement put out. However, that was just my opinion. I'm gonna call it a day. I don't know for how long I've been recording, but yeah. I'd say goodbye and until the next one.